The work session, the work discussion meeting minutes, and I didn't have any minutes on the, okay. Department heads? Wayne?
Okay, I just wanted to tell you that the energy assessment RFQ went out, so it's live today in the paper.
Oh, good.
Is it online as well?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
It's on our main page, under the bids?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it this morning.
Okay, good.
I mean, I saw it in the paper.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else? Hearing none. Floor is yours.
I simply have the resolutions that will be on the agenda for tomorrow. Moving through those, the ones that I saw that were noteworthy were number 16, which is relative to a construction project on Franklin Avenue. Number 20 is an exoneration. Number 26 is, that was the sale of, the contract for the sale of property up at the old Allen Crest site. We simply are correcting a typo by way of this resolution. 28 is, I guess, security pads for the doors down at 911. 29 is a contract for food at the jail. 30 is contracts for uniforms at the jail. Those were both bid out. 31 is simply rescinding a previous contract the board signed. My understanding is that they simply moved a little too fast, and so they went one step out of order, and so they're just correcting that over there. 36 through 38 are memorandums of understandings that simply provide a place for evacuees in case of an emergency at the magistrate buildings. It provides a place for them to take shelter at. And then 42 and 43 are contracts for the repair of the Brickyard and McHenry bridges. Oh, and I missed number 19. Number 19 is for the payment of unpaid invoices that were discovered by the billing department over at CYS.
Which one was that, 19?
19, yes.
For number 12, the CED, out of the economic development, what's that grant for? It didn't say on the portion of the resolution that I got.
I don't know, but I will find out more information for tomorrow's meeting.
And the number 27 is the Office of Aging. It's Brighton First Inc. This is changed from Penn State Extension is no longer funding the senior gardens, so that's a change in somebody who's now taking that up. And on 29, you talked about the food service for the jail.
Yes.
I didn't see, it's a 5-year contract, and I didn't see where it was broken out how much it was for the total or for per year. So I'd like to know that.
Sure.
And 36 through 38, the emergency shelters, is that for county employees? Is that for residents?
That is for county employees working within, I guess technically the courts over in the magistrate buildings. So, for instance, number 36, the Freedom Magistrate Building has county workers that staff Magistrate House office, and those workers, in the case of an emergency, will have an MOU with the Borough of Freedom that they are able to take, shelter at the Borough Building down in Freedom.
So they go from the magistrate's building to the borough building in case of an emergency.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Municipal building, yeah.
Municipal. Okay. And number 40, it's out of the CED office in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It's an RCAP, and it's up in Big Beaver to install some water lines and sewer lines. Is that in the area of the casino?
It's Westgate.
I'm not-
Westgate Business Park.
So that is a different.
That's off of Route 18.
Okay, so it's not the nowhere near. Okay, very good. And that's all the questions I had on the resolutions. Did you have any?
No.
I did have some follow-up answers to, I guess, Director Colville, as well as Commissioner Camp, with respect to the sale of vehicles. I don't know if we should maybe table that until the next meeting that they're at, but that we do have all sorts of different options with respect to selling county property and vehicles. I spoke with Mario Leone over in Monaca. They use a program or a website that's called municibid.com. They're very happy with it. Seems to be very similar to Hostetter's auction, online auction. I'm sure the only difference is the rates and the fees that you pay. Hostetter's were always willing to negotiate with us. Somebody had mentioned Craigslist. I believe that would be an option as well. So we do have options with respect to.
And I received that from Economy Borough. They use 422 auctions, and they've had success in that. So
Okay.
giving that to you.
But other than that, I believe that is all the that is it for the solicitor's report, and I do not need an executive session.
Okay. Tony?
Yeah, Brady's Run Shelter, I was by there, and the damage isn't that extensive. So I was hoping he was gonna be here to give us a report to find out what he was planning on doing with it.
I believe he's on vacation this week.
Yeah, I know. What are you gonna do? We all deserve a vacation. Agricultural preservation. Joe, did you meet with Corey? And he understood the changes? Okay.
Yeah, we got that straightened out.
And is he gonna report back to us on it, or would he?
He said he was going to.
Okay.
He's back here on the
24th, okay.
Okay.
All right, that's all I have.
Okay. So this month is Sexual Assault Month, and we have some literature up in the Rotunda area for the month, and we are also doing scouting for food. This benefits our local food banks. Last weekend was the Maple Syrup Festival, and I believe it was very, very successful.
Very, very hot.
Very,
Girls.
very hot. Yeah, there seemed to be some resolution to the ditch that was dug at Brush Creek. They checked to see if there was any permits that needed to be done because it's in a flood zone, and there are no permits. They contacted the conservation district, so they're clear. And Dan Colville said that there would be maybe some benefit to putting a drain pipe now that the ditch is dug, so they're going to be starting work this week
That's
or
my
next
I
week.
hope they square it up a little bit.
It went in an angle and like an S bend almost.
Yeah, I would think that they would.
So,
You would have thought they'd have at least used a string or something to keep it straight.
well, all ended well, so we're happy to hear that. This past week, I think it was this past week, Senator Bartolotta's office came in, and we discussed all of our RCAP grants that were submitted throughout the county. There's some really good projects coming up on those RCAPs, and hoping to hear soon because those developments will help just spur some good things happening in our neighborhoods. South Heights, I did get a phone call from South Heights. I had mentioned a few weeks back in regards to the building permits that we hadn't had any building permits from South Heights. And they explained to me that they are excluded from turning in building permits. However, they do turn in trailer permits, excavating and grading permits, and demo permits. But they have not had any of those since 2003. So
It's a small municipality.
interesting, yeah. But since I said about Aliquippa and South Heights, I wanted to make sure that I
Well-
told them how that all turned out.
I just hope we didn't lose money with the permits for Aliquippa, because I'm sure most of those were demolition permits and not construction permits. So it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah. Well, we have to have correct records. Either way, it works out, it has to be turned in. Last week, the airport chamber and the Beaver County chamber met in regards to past, present, and future on the I-36 corridor. And what I found really interesting was in 1983, the unemployment rate was 29%, and today it hovers around 4%.
It's less than 4.
Yeah, and we have more jobs today than we did at the peak of the steel mill era. So that was interesting to me. I think that, the Office of Aging is going to have their senior booklet come out in May, and they are changing the way they distribute the farmers market vouchers for the seniors. They are going to be distribute them in 2 locations. That is the Circle of Friends in Baden and the center of the mall. So the seniors will hear more about those vouchers coming up soon. And yesterday I was told about Big Brothers and Big Sisters have a program that they've developed in coordination with Central Valley School District and CCBC, where they take a group of kids and they go into a business or an organization, and they mentor these students one-on-one and show them about how this person does their job. So it's like almost job shadowing for one day, and they do that once a month. Big Brothers and Sisters would like to see if they could have students from Central Valley come into the courthouse and have a job shadow, a mentor, maybe like Dan Colville or Tim Ishman, or one of us could job shadow someone for one day from Central Valley School District, and if we can maybe put out an email to see if any of the elected officials would be interested in doing that.
Back in the day when I had brown hair and I was a teacher, we did something called Project Business. It was very, very similar to that.
Similar, yeah. Yeah. I think what they're trying to do is spur interest in these kids early on, and so they were on KDKA's Sunday Business page with John Delano this past Sunday talking about it. Act 79 out of the County Code of 2018, there was a change, and it took effect this past week, where counties, if an individual is sentenced for domestic violence and there is a conviction and a PFA is issued, that they must relinquish their firearms, and they do that to either the sheriff's office or an authorized gun shop or business. And my question is, do we have a policy in place? And maybe we should take a look at,
I can
because
address that.
Oh, very good.
I've already talked to the
Judy
courts.
Enslin.
If they enter into the record that the firearm is to be relinquished,
Mhm.
they have to specify what the firearm is. My office will then generate a form to the court that they will sign. We'll forward that form on to the sheriff. Since it does also affect for domestic violence, victims of domestic violence and PFAs, there'll be some type of practice in place for that. I am meeting with the court tomorrow
Okay.
regarding this. I alerted them that the AOPC has already designed a form, which I would like to say I brought to their attention a couple years ago that that act was in place, and it was the sheriff guy had something to do with it too. He realized that it wasn't being initiated, and I put some feelers out to other counties, and there was like only one other county in the state was even notified firearms, and then they since then passed Act 79, so we're right on top of it, and we're ready to.
Is it gonna be only to the sheriff, or can it be the police chiefs of municipalities? What's
Well, from our side, it's gonna be, have to go to the sheriff since it's in one of our court orders. In accordance to the act, there are certain individuals they can relinquish their firearms to. There's a criteria there.
Right, they discussed it at our CCAP.
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah.
And,
But, yeah, we're on our side, we're ready.
Good.
good.
I hope there's just not a whole slew of
I
firearms
don't
that are
think
being,
under the
okay?
Under the 6105C9, we've only had a couple, even convictions for
Okay.
those offenses, so I don't
Okay.
think we're gonna be in.
I didn't know how
with
many,
it.
yeah, with that.
Check it out.
Okay, good, and that's all I had. I do need executive session to discuss, union negotiations. Okay. Other business? Hearing none. Audience? Anybody? Gentleman in the back.
We're allowed to ask
Raise-
questions now?
Absolutely, absolutely.
First of all, my name is John Crispino, and I have two questions actually. On January 24th of 2019, an online blog called The Beaver County posted a fairly lengthy story about a limited liability corporation called ICPR that is being run out of the controller's office by Controller David Rossi, along with his Deputy Controller William Calhoun, possibly others, with Attorney Albert Torrance at the very least assisting them. If any of you are not aware, ICPR is purchasing properties through the tax office sales through their company and have done so with notables such as Sheriff's candidate Wayne Kress. Have any of you personally looked into this matter since the article was published? And if so, what have you determined? And what about this being an inappropriate use of county time? That's my first question.
Well, sir, as far as this, the solicitor's office has not looked into that. I don't believe that is an appropriate use of the solicitor's office. As far as the Board of Commissioners, my understanding is none of that is being done on county time.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay, but to the extent that it is, that's just something that I'm not aware of. I don't.
All right, would any of you be against looking into that since it's now been brought to your attention?
I'm just not sure that that's what the Board of Commissioners' role is in county government, sir.
Well, if I had specific information that David Rossi attended a hearing that was in the afternoon that I was actually at, would that be considered on county time?
What type of hearing?
A property hearing about a tax sale.
Why don't you talk to
Sir,
him after?
yeah, sir, let me talk with you after the meeting.
Okay, I have one more question.
Sure.
Okay. This is for you specifically, Commissioner Edgley. Have you yourself ever leaked information to the Beaver County directly or indirectly provided to you by an outside source or sources who were beginning an investigation into ICPR, and were you ever requested by this entity to keep this information confidential? I'll repeat the question if you'd like.
Yes.
You have.
Yes.
Repeat the question.
Have you yourself, personally, ever leaked information to the Beaver County directly or indirectly provided to you by an outside source or sources who were bringing an investigation into ICPR? And were you ever requested by this entity to keep this information that was provided to you up front confidential?
It sounds to me like you have a specific piece of information that you're asking me that if I have given.
let me
the Beaver
refresh.
County,
Well, I-
I'm not sure what you're referring to.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I have an article from the Beaver County that was placed on, or was printed online on the blog, January 24th of 2019. And it's, just let me read briefly, and it'll bring us right into this.
Okay,
County Controller David Rossi and his Deputy Controller started a company in 2017 to buy and flip properties, and this month it became the subject of inquiry by state investigators. A county official, speaking on condition of anonymity, said state investigators involved in a wide-ranging investigation in the county government have asked for more information about the controller's business activities. Were you the person that gave this on the condition of anonymity, the information to the Beaver County?
wouldn't that be the purpose of being anonymous?
That's my question. But the anonymous information that was given to the Beaver County jeopardized the investigation. It set the investigation back. I can say things now in this public forum. Perhaps you would rather talk to me off record or whatever.
No, I would rather talk about it in public because I don't have anything to hide. So,
Do you remember calling me on the telephone when I was losing a home at 309 Deer Lane and talking to me about it? After I sent you an email probably in the month of November?
I don't recall.
Oh, you don't
No.
recall asking me if I would go to the state police? You don't recall asking me if I
No.
thought I needed personal protection? You don't recall that conversation in the month of November?
Are you the person that was
emailed-
excuse me, are you the person that that was interviewed by the Beaver Countyan at length?
I wasn't interviewed at length by them. That's where the misinformation also came into this article. There was misquotes about money figures and so on and so forth. My problem was never with the tax office per se. My problem came after this organization, ICPR, put me technically through the ringer, trying to make it though I was evading my taxes on a personal home that I owned that was free and clear, no mortgage. It wasn't about that. It was about the fact that these individuals tried to take a $2,000 and some tax bill that they paid before I got there 5 days late and tried to sell me my own house back within 3 weeks, and they wanted me to pay them back $35,000. This was at the bequest of Albert Torrance, who called me from the county controller's telephone. I have those records. Everything that I'm telling you now is on record with the state attorney general's office. I have an agent who I deal with regularly now, and I just want the county to know that what took place in my situation, I'm sure has happened to others. And I think it's only fair that they know that there are leaks inside this courthouse that have jeopardized an investigation of a magnitude that maybe the courthouse wasn't going to see before, because somebody had to go to the Beaver County and within hours of being told about the investigation taking place and revealing the information so everybody in this building knew about it. And I don't think that's fair. And I think from all the information that I have, everyone knows who leaked the information. And as far as me doing a lengthy interview with John Paul, the girl that he sent to that house, I'll explain it to you now. The girl that he sent to the house, it wasn't a lengthy interview. I've never spoken to John Paul in depth, even though you recommended when you called me that I get a hold of the Beaver County. When I got a hold of him after your phone call, he sent a girl over named April Johnston, who met with me and the lady in the home for a brief period of time with the stipulation that she was going to come back and interview us again in December. She never showed up. I emailed her. I have all this documented. I emailed her, and she said that she quit the Beaver County.
Sir, we'll talk with you after the meeting, okay? I don't
Well,
think.
she said she's not going to talk to me after the meeting.
Okay, well, I'll talk to you after the meeting, okay? Let's move on with the meeting.
That's fine.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Sir?
Yes, I'm Dennis Garrett, here representing the Waltham chapter of the North Country Trail, and I'm here to make a request, and I'd like to just hand this to Tony, and if you might pass that on to Dan.
I have that.
Would you like another copy?
Oh, thank you.
So, Wampum Chapter of the North Country Trail represents the North Country Trail in Lawrence and Beaver counties. And I'm here to request help from Beaver County for our Closing the Gaps project. In the state of Pennsylvania, there are 43 miles of what we call gaps, that is roadwalks in the North Country Trail. For those of you that don't know, the North Country Trail covers 4,600 miles across 8 states. About 40 miles in Lawrence and Beaver County. And we have about 14 miles of gaps in that trail, where the trail is not in the woods, but it is on the road. And this Closing the Gaps is a concerted effort to get the trail off the road and into the woods. Pennsylvania has an opportunity here in the next year or so to be the first state to complete the trail, the length of the trail in their state, and we're working towards that. Now, my request is to ask the county to share with us their GIS data that we could transfer to our national headquarters in Lowell, Michigan, to lay over that data onto our ArcGIS maps that would show property lines throughout 3 jurisdictions in the county. Currently, there is a $100 charge per municipality. We are asking to waive that fee for 3 municipalities: Big Beaver, Darlington Township, and South Beaver Township, through which the trail passes. We have the trail on all the public lands that we can in the county. And so any new trail that we build has to go on private property. And we need to be contacting private property owners that would make sense along a feasible route of the trail. The Wampum Chapter is an all-volunteer, nonprofit organization. So we had asked you to waive these $300 in fees and let us move on with this project. We have been in contact with the other 3 counties in the state through which we need to acquire private property rights, and all those counties, Lawrence, Butler, and Clarion County, have all agreed to waive their fees, and we would ask Beaver County for that same courtesy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I believe that this gentleman has put the request into our planning department, and we have a resolution in place that has been in place for years, that states that there is a charge for GIS information. The county does pay a substantial fee every year for us to have that, and that is the way that the resolution reads.
That coupled with the fact that it would open up a can of worms with nonprofits. And then every and any nonprofit that would come to the county, based on the past practice, would have to keep doing it. It's very, very expensive. That's why way back in 2006, the original resolution was passed.
Yeah.
And I do remember something in 2013, there was some update that was done. And that's why it's the way it is in Beaver County.
Well, I would ask the county to rise above that imaginary can of worms, Pandora's box, whatever you want to call it, and join with the other counties in Pennsylvania and help us complete this trail. I don't know how many nonprofits there are out there that need GIS information, but we certainly do, and appreciate you considering the waiver to the resolution.
We can sit down with our planning commission and discuss it, and we'll give you an answer. I think that's the best solution.
Thank you.
Okay?
Sure.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Hearing none, we'll go into executive session. I don't believe that there will be any need to reconvene, so meeting adjourned. Thank you.